In 1991, a car showed up to a race in Australia and did something that had never happened before. It didn't just win. It lapped the entire field, every single competitor. The crowd was furious. The other manufacturers were furious. And the race organizers were so embarrassed that within a year, they quietly changed the rules specifically to make sure this car could never compete again. They didn't ban it because it cheated. They banned it because it was just too good. This is the story of the Nissan Skyline R32 GTR, the car they called Godzilla. And once you understand the physics behind what made it so dominant, you'll never look at a car the same way again. Let's go back to 1989. Japan's car industry was booming. Toyota, Honda, Mitsubishi, Washi. Every manufacturer was pushing harder than ever. But Nissan had been quietly working on something different. Not just a fast car, a car engineered specifically to destroy every competitor on a racetrack. The result was the R32 Skyline GTR. From the outside, it looked like a fairly normal coupe. Nothing that screamed monster. No massive wing, no wild body kit, just a clean muscular silhouette with 4 round tail lights. And that was almost the point. Nissan didn't want you to see it coming. Under the hood sat the RB26DETT, a 2.6-liter twin turbocharged inline 6-cylinder engine. On paper, Nissan claimed it produced 276 horsepower. But here's where it gets interesting. Japan at the time had what was called a gentleman's agreement, an unofficial deal between manufacturers not to claim more than 276 horsepower on any road car, to keep speeds manageable on public roads. So Nissan listed 276, but anyone who actually drove one knew the real number was significantly higher. Independent tests later confirmed the engine was producing closer to 320 horsepower stock. And with minimal modifications, tuners were getting 600, 700, even 1,000 horsepower out of the same block. Nissan had over-engineered it to a degree that was almost absurd, but raw power wasn't even the main reason this car was so terrifying. Here's the physics lesson, and I promise, this is the part that makes everything click. Most performance cars in the late 1980s were rear-wheel drive. That means the engine sends power only to the back wheels. The problem with rear-wheel drive is that when you push too hard, especially through a corner, the back of the car steps out. It loses grip. The driver has to manage that constantly. And at the limit, it becomes very easy to spin out. The R32 changed everything with a system called Atesa ETS. In simple terms, this was an intelligent all-wheel drive system. But it wasn't like the all-wheel drive you find in an SUV. This was something far more sophisticated. Under normal driving, the R32 sent all its power to the rear wheels, keeping it feeling sharp and responsive, like a proper sports car. But the moment the car's sensors detected even the slightest loss of traction, the back starting to slip, the system would instantly redirect up to 50% of the engine's power to the front wheels. Automatically, faster than any human could react. Think about what that means on a racetrack. The moment the car starts to lose control, it catches itself. The driver pushes harder than they should be able to. The car refuses to spin out, and the lap time keeps dropping. But Nissan wasn't done. They also fitted a system called Super HICAS, 4-wheel steering. At high speeds, the rear wheels would actually turn slightly in the same direction as the front wheels, making the car feel more stable and planted. At lower speeds, they'd turn in the opposite direction, making the car more agile through tight corners. No other road-legal car at the time was doing any of this. The R32 GTR was essentially a computer-controlled race car wearing the body of a street car. So what happened when they took it racing? Between 1990 and 1993, the R32 GTR entered the Japanese Touring Car Championship. It won every single race. 29 races, 29 wins. Not once did it lose. Competitors eventually stopped showing up because there was simply no point. Then Nissan took it to Australia, to the Bathurst 1000, one of the most prestigious and brutal endurance races in the world. A race dominated for decades by Australian V8 muscle cars, the kind of race where the crowd waves flags for their home heroes and the atmosphere is intensely patriotic. The R32 arrived, and it won. Convincingly. The crowd didn't know whether to be stunned or angry. Then it came back in 1992 and won again. 1 year, it finished a full lap ahead of the entire field. The Australian press gave it a name. They called it Godzilla, after the Japanese monster that stomped through cities, destroying everything in its path. And the name stuck permanently. The embarrassment was so complete that Australian racing officials changed the rules to ban all-wheel drive and turbocharged engine.